in 2001, you started playing drums for Kardinal Offishall, another one of these Canadian hip hop
Mm,
legends, groundbreakers. I saw him play in Ottawa in a dance club about 15 years ago, and then I saw him at Celebration Square in Mississauga for Canada Day, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And his setup was he had a drummer, a bass player, him, and a DJ. Was that the same setup that he had when you were playing with him? And what was your favorite part of playing with him? Man, that guy brings the energy and knows how to get a crowd going.
dude, I mean, that was so. I was his first drummer in the band he had with me, and it was the first band. And I think I remember the lightning strike moment of him realizing that that was the way to go. Because I think at the time, I got the gig through a guitar player friend who knew him. I mean, and he when Cardinal mentioned he wanted to maybe work the band, he wasn't sure. I think he tried it once before somewhere and he just hated it. And it was because the drummer played really loud, I was told. But I think at the time the Roots were fairly, prominent. And I think he wanted that energy. We were doing a tour opening for Shaggy. Well,
Shaggy,
yeah, Shaggy.
Mr. Lova Lova.
That's right. A multi month or week rather tour opening for him, and he wanted to put a band together. Or I think no, sorry, let me rephrase it. He had to put a band together. The only way Shaggy would bring him out, management told him was like, you have to have a band. You can't go up there with tracks, the DJ. So he was like, fine. So he spoke to my guitar player friend who then contacted me. And I think we rehearsed before he came in just to get stuff sounding just right. And when he came in and saw what we had done, it was like I said, like a light switch was like, this is what I gotta do. If I really want to bring this type of energy, this is what I gotta do. And man, I had seen him play before and saw him, as a rapper on stage, just with a couple hype men and a DJ. But his energy with the band just went through the roof. Like he was just vibing off it. He had us doing some James Brown style shots and things like that, which he thought was just the most amazing thing. He could like, give me a two, that. He loved the flexibility and the freedom of that. So we did that tour. That tour was funny because we started the tour. I brought all my drums, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, you're not setting up your kit. You're gonna play Shaggy's drum kit," which at the time was a problem because that guy had he was a Rasta dude, and for some reason he played a setup that was just like it was like I don't know a mounted 8-tom and like a 12 and a 14 floor. His cymbals were like, I remember having like almost straight in my hand to hit cymbals.
Was he 7'1" or what?
He was a really tall guy, but he also just like playing like this. His ride was like up here and they were like, and you can't touch anything except your seat height. Change your seat height, that is it. Put your snare on there, that is it. So I had to work with it. And playing some fairly nimble stuff behind Cardinal. But so it was a bit of a mind fuck having to just constantly be like holding on for dear life every time I played. But playing with him was amazing. He just had such a respect for the musicians he worked with, and just such, as you pointed out, like just such an energy level that then turned around and fed us, to just give our best every night. And then from there we did a handful of events. I think there might have been like a Much Music something or other and a few other shows, but we didn't do much more outside of that one tour and a handful of dates. But it was really fun.
I'm glad he saw the light about having a band on stage because
Yeah.
I've been to a ton of concerts, a lot of hip hop concerts. I was just at Blues Fest for the last 10 days in Ottawa, and there's a lot of hip hop acts. And whenever it's just one guy that comes out with a mic and that's it, like there's just tracks, I'm always disappointed. It's like I'm looking for some level of musicianship, and it's like they're talented on the mic, but it's like just staring at one guy the whole time. it's not enough. So the greats like Jay-Z has a band when he's on tour, and seeing someone like the Roots, where they're all incredible musicians. To me, again, like when you said you saw those incredible drummers in Toronto, and there's levels to this game of drumming. To me, there's levels to the live show of hip hop artists when they have just tracks, or one step up is they have a physical DJ with them. And then the next level up is they have a legit band playing.
And you know what some bands are doing? I know Drake did this for a while. I was talking to Adrian, his drummer. Some artists are actually going to, they want the energy of the band, but they actually don't want to see the band. They want the whole show to be like a video wall. They throw stuff on. So Drake will actually put the band under the stage.
Like an orchestra.
Yeah. So like directly on stage, the drummer's there, the keyboard player. I think he's just down to drum and keyboard player now. I think he's turfed his guitar and bass player. So it's just a drummer, keyboard playing a whole bunch of tracks and just crazy, monstrous playing, when it calls for it. But that's not all you see on stage is the corresponding video screen show to go with it. So they're taking the energy of the feeling of it, but replacing the visual of it with time code basically. So it's a different time, man.
Yeah.
How old are you, by the way?
I'm 37.
Okay, you're old enough to know of a time where we'd go out and see shows.
Shows. I miss shows. Yeah, I just saw Ja Rule on stage standing by himself. He was actually surprisingly good, to be honest. And he can sing, even though he's a rapper and he has the raspy voice. He's got really good pitch, and he is so jacked. Like there's got to be steroids going on. Like he is. What's that?
He's an artist. He can let him do steroids. He's an artist.
Oh yeah, he does. He doesn't have to do any testing for the UFC, so why not?
Yeah. Exactly. That's funny. It's funny that you mentioned him. We just completely tangentially but we did a show in London where the following night I was looking at the bill and it was 112, TLC, Ja Rule, all these these massive acts from the aughts, from the early 2000s, all crammed into a bill together. I wish I could remember who else was on it. It just,
so I just saw at Blues Fest, it was Ja Rule headlining, TLC, and Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Bone Thugs Harmony, that was the other act. And there were a couple more. And I was like, what is going on? How are you just cramming these people in there? And I was talking to our manager about it. Apparently, the promoter gets that you can buy that package of those guys. And you can do those shows every year. And then I don't want to say what the money is. It's each artist does not make a lot of money, but they all make the exact same amount of money. And everything else is taken care of. They just show up. There's no band, as you saw. It's just tracks and then maybe a DJ. And they go up there, and a lot of them have maybe one hit. So that the set is a half hour, and it's all these people who were you could not throw a stick without hearing about one of these artists, and here they are playing for, I'll just say, decently under 10K, well under 10K per act to do those shows. But apparently the promoters rake in a ton of money on those shows.
The promoters got those bulk deals going on. Just bulk them all together and send them out to casinos and
So they make what they make at each show, and they obviously it's not a lot per show, but they do a bunch of these shows, and by the end of a week, they've made a decent chunk of change. So, anyways, I just thought that was fucking fascinating.